Cigarrillo es marijuana.
No.
Yes, Daryl.
All right.
Oh no.
But I was living in, I was sinning, and I was doing Chilul Hashem, and Yahweh sent a prophet named Rivka and said, "Now listen, Bubba, it's your pot or it's your wife. Choose."
Oh, dang. Oh, you got. Oh.
Choose. I made the right choice, and 17 years later, we're still married. Okay? But you know what? She was zealous for Yahweh. She said, you can fool people, but I'm not going to be part of that charade.
Hallelujah.
So I'm not going to be part of it. I'd rather thrust you through and thrust our marriage through than have you be part of that charade.
Amen.
That was zealotry. That was zealousy for Yahweh. Baruch Hashem Yahweh.
Baruch Hashem Yahweh.
Zealotry at its core, listen, is an act of atonement because it brings forgiveness to the one who is committing Chilul Hashem, and it brings life to the camp who is not taken in by those who are committing Chilul Hashem. So that's why Yahweh says, not only will you have an everlasting priesthood, you have made atonement. Look at me. The anti-missionaries say, well, I don't believe in that human sacrifice stuff. You know, that Jesus stuff, that ain't nothing but a bunch of pagan gunk, you know, because, you know, we're real monotheists, man. We're Yahwehs, and we don't believe in human sacrifice. You ever hear that one? That Yeshua was a human sacrifice, and we're Yahwehs, and we're monotheists, and we don't believe that Yahweh took on flesh. We don't believe that's just nothing but human sacrifice. Hello? And that's nowhere in the Torah. So don't you give me that Brit Chadashah and that Ruach HaKodesh. I believe in the Torah, I believe in Yahweh, and I don't need a bridge or an intermediator. I don't need a son of Yahweh to get to Yahweh, because that's just a bunch of no human being ever died for the sins of another, and Yahweh declared the people righteous. That's all Christian, Gentile, paganism. Right? Wrong. Right here. Right here. The death of a human being, Yahweh says, made atonement for the people. Not for his mama, not for his brother, for the people. Which part of the people and atonement don't you understand? So next time one of those anti-missionaries come and tells you, well, you're a pagan because you believe in a human being Yahweh, and there's no such thing as a man dying for the sins of Israel, say, really? You must not know the Torah. Pinchus killed Kobe and Zimri. Two people died so that the nation was forgiven. Hello? Right. 2 human beings died, and that act of atonement, Yahweh didn't call it murder. The New York Justice System might call it murder. Yahweh called it, he brought atonement through the death of 2 human beings to the entire camp.
Right. Amen.
Professing themselves to be wise, the anti-missionaries have become fools. Baruch Hashem Yahweh. Forever learning and never coming to the knowledge of the truth. Baruch Hashem Yahweh.
Amen. Baruch Hashem Yahweh.
This is an act of atonement birthed by and through the Ruach HaKodesh, an act above and beyond the power of any human halacha, and divinely fueled by the Ruach, often without planning or premeditation. Torah teaches that a person filled with the love of Yahweh is at the point at which, out of zealotry, he may actually kill another Israelite who is guilty of desecrating Yahweh's name and character, and is unable to conquer the and the zealot is unable to conquer the holy Ruach in him that is crying out for him to act. It is improper to punish him. Zealotry for Yahweh, listen, is outside the boundary of normal penal rules. Zealotry for Yahweh is outside the boundary of normal rules and normal halacha. Does any of this make sense? If Pinchus was judged by normal halacha, he would be called a what? A murderer. Instead, he's called a vessel of atonement for the people, and given a covenant of shleimut and everlasting priesthood. just like you and me. So some Christian, NTOC, what's an NTOC? New Testament only Christian. The NTOC goes, well, the Brit Hadashah is better than the Tanakh. Why? Because those priests died and we have an everlasting priesthood. Is that true? No, that's not true. That's not true. What did Pinchus have?
Everlasting.
An everlasting priesthood. So the fact that we have an everlasting priesthood doesn't begin with the Brit Hadashah. Baruch Hashem Yahweh.
Baruch Hashem Yahweh.
Now, why does Yahweh see zealotry as kosher? How many are sleeping? Please raise your hand if you're sleeping. Rivka, what are you doing?
Oh, that's bad.
It's our anniversary, honey.
Oh,
Are you exposing me? Baruch Hashem Yahweh. Check this out. Why does Yahweh see Pinchus as a provider of atonement and zealotry, which is kosher? Why is scriptural zealotry kosher? Because Pinchus is a type of a blood avenger. Listen, who avenges blood not on behalf of a dead relative, but on behalf of Yahweh. Pinchus was so identified with Yahweh. You, in your priesthood, are so identified with Yahweh and the Besorah and his son, that when you act out of love for Chilul Hashem Yahweh, or the defilement or desecration of the name of Yahweh, this value is so great in the kingdom because so few are willing to pursue this and guard Yahweh's integrity and name and character, that it is impossible to mandate this or mandate that everyone reach this level. So when someone reaches this level, Yahweh doesn't see him as a murderer, but as a blood avenger, an avenger of blood. You understand what I'm saying? What is an avenger of blood? In the Torah, in Torah days, Yahweh forbid, if you killed my father or if you killed my relative, and you did it intentionally, hello? I can chase you down and hunt you down as an agent of justice, as an avenger of blood, find you and kill you legally according to Torah for taking the life of my loved one. I would be called in Torah an avenger of blood, a blood avenger. Yahweh sees Pinchus here as a blood avenger, not as a murderer, meaning that Yahweh's bride, Israel, his family, his chosen, was being killed. So he sends Pinchus not to murder, but as an avenger of blood, as a Torah-based, Torah-approved avenger of blood. Society may see Pinchus as a murderer. Yahweh saw Pinchus as an avenger of blood, chasing down those who shed 24,000 innocent beings in Israel through Chilul Hashem Yahweh. Remember, when you sin, can you sin? Yes. Ask yourself these questions. I can sin. I'd like to sin. It feels good. Don't bring this church teaching into the true Nazarene Israelite faith. Well, brother, you've got to learn to hate your sin. Baloney. I love sin. If you didn't love sin, why would you do it?
Yes, that's true.
The pleasures of sin for a season. When you fear the wrath of Yahweh more than the pleasures of sin, you'll give it up. Hello?
Amen.
So don't say, well, you know, I just hate my sin. No, I don't. I love it. Man, if I could serve Yahweh and have my sin, I'd do both. Come on now.
Okay.
Don't look so holy at me.
All right.
Don't give me those holy looks.
That's right.
Who doesn't love sin? Good sex, good drugs, good rock and roll. What, are you kidding me? The only thing you need is Q-tips. So you keep hearing the music loud. That's not the point. The point is, listen, when we rise above sin, hello, by a love for Yahweh and a love of his purity and his holiness and his character, so that those who misrepresent his character and his holiness, we are willing to confront spiritually, physically, behind closed doors, in front of people, to say, hey, you're causing people to stumble. You're causing people to fall. You're causing people to walk away from Yahweh. Stop it now. Stop it now, or you're going to have death deliver it to you. And I'm not going to ask the rabbi. I'm confronting. I'm not going to ask the rabbi's permission. Because Yahweh sees me as an avenger of blood, protecting his bride from being murdered in the camp. Come on now. Baruch Hashem Yahweh. So how do you approach sin? Watch. I can do it. I'd like to do it. Don't lie to yourself. But I choose not to do it. And by choosing not to do it, I will reap the benefits, the peaceable fruits of righteousness, because I am allowing myself to be exercised by righteousness, and Yahweh will give me the ability to overcome unrighteousness. I choose, and by choosing not to do, the benefits outweigh the negative. I don't go to jail. I don't get exposed. I don't get exposed as a counterfeit. I don't get exposed as a two-timer. I don't get exposed as someone who's unfaithful. I don't get exposed as a thief. I don't get exposed as a hypocrite. My reputation is intact. My life is intact. My employment is intact. So I can do it. I can do it. I would like to. Man, would I like, but I choose not to do it. And look at the benefits. I get to see my wife. I get to see my kids. They grow up. I'm not separate from them. I get to see them.
Amen.
The benefits, and when you list the benefits on a piece of paper, you'll go, wow, Yahweh is good. It pays to serve Yahweh. It pays to forsake the pleasures of sin for a season.
It pays. Amen.
And suffer rather affliction and reproach with the people of Yahweh. It's better to do that, because when you really make a true list of the benefits, you'll see the benefits of serving Yahweh outweigh the pleasures of sin for a season. Pinchus is so identified with Yahweh, listen, as Yahweh's instrument, that he is unable to suffer any affront before and about his Yahweh. He stands up out of his zeal. The value is so great that Yahweh does not mandate that every person achieve this level. You with me?
Amen.
Which is why you have a lot of people who are not zealous for Yahweh. They're happy, they're content to show up and eat kugel and eat hamantasha. They don't build nothing. They don't pray for anybody. They don't visit anybody. They don't change people's lives. They don't let their light shine. They're just content being with. Why? Why? They're not self-motivated. Why? Because Yahweh hasn't mandated that every person rises to a zealot level. Zealotry is a good level. Right? It's good to be zealous.
That's right.
But Yahweh hasn't mandated that all his children become zealous. It's very rare, and that's why Pinchus could not be harmed, because it was so rare. He was an agent and a blood avenger of Yahweh, because the blood of innocence, the innocent bride, Israel, had been shed. So he doesn't require everybody to be zealous, but those who are zealous, whew, they have a brit shelemut, and they have a brit shalom, and the lithium, and the Valium, and the Prozac, and the Oxycontin are going to go out the door eventually. Maybe not right away, but eventually, because that zeal will consume all those meds. The same way it consumes sin, the same way it consumes opposition, the same way it consumes enemies. Eventually, that zeal will consume all those meds, eventually. I know what I'm talking about. And I'm not picking on anybody, I'm just saying. That's the zeal of Yahweh will burn away all the dross. Baruch Hashem Yahweh.
Baruch Hashem Yahweh.
Baruch Hashem Yahweh.
Baruch Hashem Yahweh.
Go to Tehillim 69. We go quickly. Tehillim 69. I'm sorry that I couldn't deliver a Tov message for you today.
Oh, this is
Tehillim.
What are you talking about?
Tehillim 69. Verse 9.
Okay.
I set you up for that, Daryl. Tehillim 69:9. Thank you, brother. 69:9. Tehillim 69:9. There's a messianic Tehillim, a messianic prophecy. For the zeal, well, remember what we define zeal as? Let's go back. Enthusiastic devotion to a cause, ideal, or goal. Tireless diligence in its furtherance. I'll read it again. Enthusiastic devotion to a cause, an ideal, or goal. And tireless diligence in its furtherance. Good.
Amen.
For the zeal of your bayit, or the house of Israel, has eaten me up. Yeshua talking in the second person through the Ruach HaKodesh, through Melech David. David is writing, but it's Yeshua speaking through the Ruach in a prophecy. The zeal of your bayit, meaning the children of Israel and the temple, has eaten me up, and the reproaches of those who reproached you, Yahweh, have fallen on me. So the zeal will, listen, zeal will take the reproach that has been targeted by the devil, listen, for Yahweh, and will rather experience that reproach themselves than the name of their heavenly King be dirtied and be muddied.
Amen.
I'd rather they say bad things about me and untruths about me, because that's part of my ministry of protecting the reputation and the name of Yahweh. It's all part of my ministry to protect His reputation and His name. So those reproaches that were targeted for Yahweh, the zeal for the Beit Yisrael, for all 12 tribes, for the restoration and regathering of both houses of Israel, will allow those arrows targeted. Can't hurt Yahweh anyway. Hello? They can't hurt Yahweh, right?
No.
But those arrows targeted to distort His character and reputation, let them fall on me.
Let them fall on me.
You get it?
Amen.
And that's why Yeshua was Yahweh's servant. That's why He was the perfect servant. That's why He was a suffering servant. He allowed the reproaches that Israel had brought against Abba Yahweh to fall on Himself.
Amen.
Hello, Yochanan 2. Yochanan 2, Besorah, the good news, according to Yochanan 2. Does anyone enjoy?
Amen.
Other than my wife, does anyone enjoy?
Amen.
She has no choice, it's her anniversary. Yochanan 2, verse 15.
Okay.
Yochanan 2:15. When Yeshua had made a whip, there's his spear, right there. That's his Pinchus-like spear. When he had made a whip of small cords, he drove them all out, all the money changers, verse 14, selling doves and sheep. He drove them out of the Beit HaMikdash and the oxen, and poured out the changers' money, and overthrew the table, and said to them that sold doves, take these things away, make not my Abba's bayit into a bayit of merchandise. The zeal for your bayit has consumed me. In John 2:16, he fulfills Psalm 69, verse 9. He fulfills Psalm 69, verse 9. In Yochanan 2:15 through 17, he drove out the money changers in the courts of the temple, and he says, you shall not take bayit of my Abba and turn it into a bayit of genafim, or thieves.
Amen.
How about the ever meet atheist? You ever meet an agnostic? Isn't this one of the scriptures they point to? How Yeshua was not loving and he got angry. You ever have, oh, hey, Yeshua got angry. Hey, he lost his temper. Remember when he went into the temple? Remember? Isn't that funny? Well, obviously, this was because of what? What did Yeshua say taking place? What did Yeshua see taking place that enabled him and empowered him to put everybody out of business? You didn't want to check the Dow Jones Industrial Average that day. It plummeted, Tehillah. That day was the day the Dow Jones Industrial Average took a nosedive. Everybody was out of business.
Yes. Hallelujah.
Because of what? The zeal of Yahweh for both houses that was eating him up. Meaning, you know what that means? If you don't act, because when you see Chilul Hashem, Yahweh, taking place, it will eat you up. Meaning, you might as well confront the desecration of Yahweh's character, because if not, it'll eat up your inside like a cancer.
Yes, it will. Wow.
See, most people don't have that. That's okay, because that's a special level in Yahweh. That's a special height that many of us can attain to, as long as we are more concerned with His reputation than ours. And that is a lifelong process. It's not easy being more concerned with Yahweh's reputation than ourselves. It's not easy. I mean, let's be honest, right? We worry about what people think. We all do. Baruch Hashem Yahweh. But also remember one of the things of Jewish halacha, someone who steals a vessel and uses it in a temple commits what? Chilul Hashem, or someone that should be confronted by zealotry of another Israelite. Remember we read that earlier? Somebody who steals a vessel. Remember I gave you the example of Radio Shack? Someone who steals a microphone and uses it in the temple, remember? So what was going on with these merchandisers, they were stealing merchandise and reselling it in the temple. Because you see, if you don't understand Torah and you just come from a Gentile mindset, you think Yeshua was doing the right thing. Do you realize that if you don't approach this or the entire Bible from a Hebraic mindset, do you realize that Yeshua was breaking Torah here? Do you realize that? Well, brother, the Lord just went in and overthrew the tables. No, he broke the Torah. If you don't see this from a Hebraic mindset, what do I mean? Read the footnote in the Restoration Scriptures. Footnote number 7, Yochanan 2, verse 16. The money changers were allowed by Torah to be in the temple. It says in Deuteronomy 14:24, it says, when you come from a far country and you don't have a sheep or a lamb because it's too far, you can take your money at the temple and exchange it for a sacrifice. The money changers were allowed to be there in order for you to fulfill the mitzvah of the animal sacrifices. Did you know that? Of course you didn't, because the church won't teach that. They don't have an idea if they're coming or going half the time. Look up Deuteronomy 14:24. Yahweh ordered the money changers to be in the temple. Here comes Yeshua and gets rid of them.
14:24.
What's wrong with this picture? Yeah, you want to go there? Go, all right, let's just go there because I'm getting some of those kadosh looks. Devarim 14:24. Don't tell me I preached too long. We just wanted more of the word. That's all.
Amen.
Devarim 14:24.
Okay.
Baruch Hashem Yahweh. Devarim 14:24. If the derech, the way is too long for you, so you are unable to carry the sacrifice, or if the place is too far for you, you can't carry a lamb from China or from Yahweh knows where to Jerusalem, then you shall, verse 25, you shall turn it into money, bind the money in your hand, and then go to the place that Yahweh chooses, and then you will bestow the money, verse 26, for whatever your being desires, ox, sheep, wine, drink, whatever your being desires. Okay? Hello, you see that? If the place is too far, take the money in your hand, bind it in your hand, travel to Jerusalem, and go get your sheep. Wow. So if Yeshua was throwing those dudes out, he was breaking Torah, wasn't he? If he broke the Torah, he couldn't be the Mashiach. So the sin was not the money changers. Deuteronomy 14 ordered the money changers to be there. You'll never hear that in church, would you? So if the money changers were supposed to be there, why on earth would Yeshua overturn the money changers and say, you are making my Father's house into a house of merchandise, when Yahweh said they're supposed to be there? I'll tell you why. Because they weren't just changing money for sacrificial animals. They were stealing and using unjust weights and measures, saying something was 5 pounds when it was 3 pounds, saying something was 2 pounds when it was 1 pound, and selling lambs and goats with blemishes from top to bottom, when Yahweh said, you will not bring anything blemished into my presence. That's why. It was Chilul Hashem. Yeshua overturned the money tables, changers, because he blatantly saw the blatant Chilul Hashem day after day after day after day, and he had enough. You understand what I'm saying? Yeah. They were allowed to be there. More than that, Torah commanded the money changers to be there. Yeshua better have a reason for throwing them out. He better have a reason. Chilul Hashem was his reason. When one steals anything to be used in the temple, that is Chilul Hashem, and the temple calls for an avenger, and that avenger was Yeshua. Do you understand? There was thievery and stealing going on in the temple that called for Pinchus, an avenger of innocent blood, to step forward, and Yeshua stepped forward and made the whip out of tiny cords and overthrew it and goes, now let's do it right. He wasn't throwing them out. He was stopping Chilul Hashem because the zeal of Yahweh had eaten him up. The reproaches who were daily reproaching him had now personally fallen on him. It had eaten him up so much, he decided to do something about it.